Okay, since the dawn of time, woodcarvers have struggled to carve female faces, and today we're going to break down the female eyes with an 1.5 inch blade, a 2x2 cut diagonally. This is probably 3.5 or 3 3/4 inches long, and that's it. Let's get into it. If you want to learn more about carving the realistic female face, male face, young and old, check out my online school, Fundamentals of Woodcarving. It's an online resource that I've been working on for the past, 4 years now. It's a great resource, tons of video projects added each month. Check that out in the link below. Let's get to this eye tutorial. Let's carve some female eyes. Boop. Okay, so the female face has always been a challenge for folks, and so today I want to kind of simplify that for you. So the first thing I want to do is I want to create a V-cut. And that V-cut is kind of going to define the beginning of the brow ridge for this female. So I'm just going to come across. One of the angles is a little bit steeper than the other. Right, I'm going to get nice depth there. Now the thing about the female brow structure is it's wide instead of teed, which means instead of coming straight across here, we're going to come up with a slight angle. Alright, so the nice thing about carving into the corner is we have this perfect center line. It's always available to us. So I'm going to come off to the side here, extend that cut, and notice already I'm starting to give it a slight upward turn. Notice that turn. That's very important because we want the female brow to have a bit of an upward turn. I'm going to take some of the, let's just define the hairline up here. I'm going to come up about 1/2 inch or so, make another V cut, and take this material back between these cuts we've made and this top one here. I don't know why it took me so long to start carving outside, but the nature is beautiful, beautiful, feeding the soul. The sounds of the birds and the frogs croaking and dogs barking, it's fun. Minus the dogs barking, I guess. Okay, so you can see here what's happening. The other thing I want to make sure is that this cut is not a stark, straight, perpendicular cut, that it's kind of angled. It's fanned upwards a little bit, okay? And the important thing to know about the female face too is that the brow ridge does not come out as far. And so we can take this down, and neither does the nose. The nose tends to be a little bit smaller as well. So I'm just going to take this forehead down a little bit here. So we're really carving the eyes, but we're also focusing on the forehead a little bit because you gotta get the forehead right to get the eyes right. So I'm carving the 3 planes. See these angles? You want to see that? Okay. Okay. What was that? Anyway. Alright, so now I'm going to establish another cut. Let's see, I'm going to double from the hairline to the brow ridge. So let's just guesstimate about 1/2 inch, even though it's a little bit more than that. We'll bring the nose about 1/2 inch down from this brow ridge line that we made. Just maybe a little bit of extra material in there. Okay, I'm going to make a stop cut. I'm not going to get too far with the nose here at all, but I do want to just kind of define that quickly. Okay, so refine our center line if you need to, which you probably should. Establish that center line once again. Just to make sure we're square, because see how easy it is to get off square. Alright, so the first thing I want to do is what's called a pyramid cut. We hear you, Mr. Frogs. We hear you, frogs. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to come in here with the brow ridge. And one thing before we do that, I want to point out something really interesting about the female nose. This is called the keystone. It's this little block right in here. And on the female face, the keystone, this transition between the brow and the nose, right, this area right in here, this is pretty wide, typically speaking. You have many exceptions to that, but generally as a female, you're going to leave a wider keystone. So I'm going to cut that down just like so. Above the keystone. Again, we don't want that forehead to be too proud. Too proud. Less proud than the male. And flatter. Flatter. Okay? I'm going to take it back just a little bit more. We want to create a scoop on the side profile, alright, of the nose. And we'll do a video on the nose for the female face as well, so we'll get into that. But this triangle cut that we're about to make, I'll draw it first and then I'll cut it in. Here's the triangle. Draw it on this side as well. What we do to one side, we always try to do to the other side, right? Doesn't have to be perfect, but I'm going to come in with a cut straight in like so. Again, this is called the triangle cut. You'll never believe why, because we're creating a triangle. See that? I know, crazy stuff. But see, that little sharpening at the beginning was so important because now we have a nice sharp blade, beautifully sharp blade. And that just makes all the difference when you're carving. Probably more people quit carving because of a dull blade than any other reason. It's just so common. Oh, you can already see, look at this, I've kind of gone off center. Here's my center line, I lost it. Carved it off, but that's okay. We just redefined center. We can move the face over a little bit, not the end of the world. It's really not the end of the world. Okay. Wow, the birds are just going mad today, which is it's kind of awesome. All right, so next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to extend the line of this triangle, this bottom edge right here. We're going to take that line, and we're going to make it go like so. Just going to extend that line, and scooping to it, just like that. Okay. And the same thing on the other side, extending that inside corner of the triangle, making it come down with a scoop cut. Now, scoop cuts are very important to master in carving, and takes practice, but really you're just turning your blade as you're moving it through the material. Just simply put, just like this, ready? Notice I'm turning the blade as I'm moving through the material. Okay, just like that. Okay, now it looks a little weird at this point, but that's okay. I'm going to create a little line underneath the eye, like so. Alright, just like that. And do the same thing over here. And we're just getting some blocks in. We're just blocking it in at first. It's really nothing too crazy. Just want to get the mounds of the eye set up. So that's what we're doing here. We're getting these mounds set up. Okay, now the female eyes, they tend to be bigger. Maybe slightly further set apart than on the male. You know, because we want those big, beautiful eyes. Alright. And those planes are always softer. So we're going to make smaller, tinier cuts when we go in to create the female face. I'm going to bring this forehead back yet even more. I know it sounds like a lot of removal of the forehead, but we just don't want that to be too proud, meaning too far out. So I'm going to take it back yet even more. Even more. Alright. So, it doesn't look like a female yet, does it? But we'll get there. I'm going to take a little scoop out of the nose. Okay. A little scoop out of the brow ridge. I'm going to take this nose and just narrow the sides of it, using that scoop cut once again. Remember that motion we talked about where you're turning the blade like so? Beautiful. Just like that. Looks like I got a little carried away with my knife blade there. Okay. Very good. Now I'm going to make a stop cut and a relief cut, a little V cut, moving the eye up like so. Notice how I'm starting to create the cat eye look, the appearance of the upward angle of the eye, right? So I'm coming in like so with that blade, and I'm relief cutting to that. Now the female face is one that takes a lot of time to master, refining, and to be honest, I don't whittle the female face very often. I mostly hand carve it with gouges and chisels, and those are larger tools and different tool sets. So there are a lot of great carvers out there you can learn from about carving female faces with a lot more knife experience than I have. I'm a gouge carver. I've been gouge carving for nearly 18 years, so I can tell you a lot about that. But anyway, so now I'm making a stop cut at the outside. This is another triangle cut out here at the outer edge of the eye. But notice how there's a relative upward V slant for both of these eyes. That's important here. This is a kind of a shallower triangle cut coming out of the corner. Like that. Alright, so just to review here quickly, we've got a triangle cut on the inside of the eye, like so. We've got a triangle cut on the outside of the eye. And then we've got a kind of a groove underneath connecting these two triangle cuts alongside here, just like so. And this generally angles upward. It looks like we've got a little asymmetry here on this side. I'm going to bring it up a little bit higher. Always important to be looking at both the left and right side when you're carving the face, because you want to keep things in symmetry. Okay, so I'm going to raise this up a little bit. Looks like this eye's a little bit higher than the other. And we've got a really nice setup. Helps to turn things upside down too to see symmetry, because you get so used to seeing things from one angle. It's very helpful to turn something upside down and see all the shapes from the opposite direction. Okay. All right, we're doing good. Very good. All right, so the first thing I want to do with this knife is I want to establish, as far as the eye is concerned that is I want to establish the upper lid. So I'm going to come across with my blade and I'm going to make an indentation. All right, you can draw it first if you'd like. Here, I'll draw it on the other side so you can see. And again, I'm still kind of following that upward turn, right? Man, is that a squirrel? What is that? Nature people. What is that? Talk to me. Tell me what that is. Wow. I'm going to go straight in on that line, just like so. Hey, who are you? That sounds like a squirrel to me, but what do I know? You could also do this with a V-tool. Make things a lot easier, of course, but we don't like to do that. We like to make things a challenge. I got a spam call. Okay, I'm gonna go in now and relief up to that line very gently, barely removing material. So I'm making a stop cut along the top, like so. It's kind of an almond shape, so it's going upward slightly. And then a little tiny relief cut to that line, just like so. And if it doesn't come out, go back over the two cuts. Really want to be careful here. I'm going to make sure and deepen this inside corner of the triangle a little bit. Make sure that we've got a nice relief in there so that the eye is not facing outward too much. I'm going to do that again over here. I love to do a little triangle cut in the inside corner of the eye, even after I've done the initial triangle cut, just like that, okay? They say the best curved lines are made from the straightest ones. So it's helpful to get a good understanding of how to make these straight shapes like triangles and squares and angles and planes, so then you can master the curves by just cutting those corners down until things round out and smooth. So I always recommend that people learn to carve in an angular way before they do anything fancy. Okay, so I'm going to come back and do the same thing over here. Make sure that stop cut's deep enough, otherwise you'll chip off that upper lid. The reason we establish the upper lid first is the upper lid sits further out than the lower lid, so we want to make sure it's nice and proud. Just like that. Okay. Like so. Establishing that upper lid, coming above the upper lid with a stop cut. Okay, so again, the main difference between the male and the female eye is the female eye is going to have an upward turn to it. You can already see the feminine quality of this eye without any of the details yet. Watch me bump the camera. Alright, make sure that these eyes are nice and big. Draw that bottom one in. Draw that bottom lid. So I'm going to curve that just like so. Make them nice and wide. Make sure they're fairly even. Turn it upside down. Excuse me, turn it upside down as a check. Not too bad. Good enough. Establish that lower lid. Again, coming straight in. And then a cut relief to that, very gentle, very light, very light. And if you're not cutting or you're tearing the wood, don't be afraid to take a quick break, hit that strop. Okay? Do not be afraid to get to that strop. It's going to make your life so much easier. So much easier. Just like that. Okay. Alright, that's looking good. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Almond shape is what we're after. So an upward turn. I like to try and hold on to my blade with both hands if I can. In other words, I try to support the blade with my opposing finger, the fingers that are holding it if I have a free one. That's going to provide control for the blade and make myself a lot safer, less likely to cut myself. Never want my hands to be in the path of the blade though, so you want to be careful that your finger is not in front of the blade when you're cutting. Okay, there's that. Beautiful. Lower lid. And you know, this is going to be a little bit chippy because we're just making a quick instructional video here. We can come back in and clean this up, and we will, but the important thing is that you see the major shapes here and that you get an understanding of what I'm after when I'm carving the female face. So the eyes a little bit larger, a little bit further apart, kind of wide up, and we'll actually complete this carving together. I'll do another series, or a series on carving the nose as well, the lips and all that, and then we'll really kind of tie this all together. I want to extend the upper lid a little bit further over with that knife, and then I'm going to come in with a scoop cut up to that line, and then once again making another pass with that blade, just like that, and that's going to make the lower lid tuck beneath the upper one. Do that on here, just like so. Okay, very good. Very good. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed this very simple lesson on carving the female eyes. I'm going to put some pupils in there. Actually, let's see, that one looks a little bit, I'm going to raise this side just a little bit more. And then I'm going to cut some pupils in there. You really want to take your time when you're carving, guys. You know, I'm carving quickly for the camera, but you don't really want to rush something like this. You really want to enjoy the process, take your time, take as many minutes as you need. You don't need to be carving this in 15 minutes like I am, or trying to rush yourself. It's always good to take your time, because this is not, you know, it's not the simplest exercise you could do with a knife. You know, we're making it simple as we can, of course. That's the goal, make this simple and understandable. Okay, that's so much better. Yeah, more even. All right. Darken this up a little bit. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna try to get this a little bit closer. And little sandpaper does not hurt either with the female face. Getting those cuts nice and soft. Okay, so let's make her eye turn to one side. Let's have her looking off to the side a little bit. I'm gonna make a little curve cut. And a relief cut like that. And it's good to kind of draw a grid on here to make sure they're looking the same way. I like to draw a little X on there, or a crosshair, so you can see that. Okay. All right. Just like that. Okay, define the sides of her face. Like so, coming along the edges here. I mean, I could be here all day with you, but this is the gist of it. Hope you enjoyed, hope you got something from it. And stick around for the next lesson. This will really come to life. You know, it's kind of difficult to capture the character of the face with just one feature set. So we'll go through and we'll carve the rest of them. But get yourself caught up on this part, and then expect another follow-up on this. And that's that. Thanks for watching, guys. Okay, we can soften up her brow ridge a little bit. Let's do that really quick. There we go. Clean that up. Alright, there's that. Some little eyes looking off into the distance. Female eyes. Alright guys, see you in the next one. Okay, I had to add this in really quick, guys. Of course, I drew the eyebrows on there. That's not necessary, but I wanted to show you. This is the cardinal sin of wood carving, so don't tell anyone this, but I'm going to use a little bit of sandpaper just to show you the effect that that has on the female face. You know, you can do it without sandpaper, and guess what? The pros, the real pro whittlers, knife-only carvers, they don't use sandpaper because they don't need it. But if you just take a little bit of sandpaper to smooth some of the planes out around the eye, You know, and we're not using this just broadly over the whole thing. We're kind of folding it up and we're getting into the corners and we're trying to preserve the shapes. But when we do that, first of all, it cleans those hairs out, right? So us not so clean cutters with our knives, we can just take care of that. But what you'll notice is when it softens those features, and especially when we get to the other features of the face, it just makes them a little bit more feminine. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, just look forward to that. And then those eyebrows make a huge difference as well. We'll get to that. Touch that up in a future video. But anyway, I just wanted to show you guys what can happen if you take a little sandpaper to your female eye structure. Excuse me. There's that. Okay, can you see that? Of course you can. Coming underneath there with the sandpaper. And then when you draw those, you know, because the eyebrows really also set things apart with the female, so I'm not going to go crazy with it right now, but you can just see if I draw the eyebrows on, notice the way the feminine qualities of her brow come out. Okay, so anyway. Okay, that's that. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next one. Okay, I had to do one more thing, and then I'll promise to go, guys. I was looking at the inside corners, and I noticed that didn't push the inside corners of the eyes in quite enough. So I'm going to take another triangle cut out of here. Not a whole lot, just another triangle cut in the inside corner just to push those eyes inward a little bit more. Again, they were facing outward, and it kind of looked like fish eyes for that reason. So as I was about to put the carving away, I started detailing on it a little bit, and I realized, oh gosh, I realized I need to push those eyes inward just a little bit more. So taking that triangle out, and then you can always redefine the simple shapes of the inside corner of the eye. We'll do that really quick. It's just worth taking the time, guys, to rework something that doesn't look right. You know? So that's the goal. Oh, you can hear the dog getting riled up. We're watching our friend's dog. Okay, here it is. Ready? Back in the inside corner of the eye, just like that. Just like that. Little corner comes out. Boom. Same thing here. Inside corner. Hearing all the activity out here is fun. Okay, there's that. See how much? That's actually quite a bit better. Turning those eyes inward. Well, I'm so glad that I came back on here with you guys to show you that, because that was driving me nuts. Alright, so be patient with yourself, guys. Do not rush this process, you know, because I started to rush it, and then I missed a step. I had the eyes kicked in a little bit too much, or kicked outward, rather. So turning those eyes in makes such a big difference. And if you have a gouge, you can run it underneath these eyes as well. Again, we're going knife only here, so we're not going to do that. And then back with that sandpaper, a light touch of the sandpaper. I like to fold it up again, like I said before. Just get under there. Alright, well, goodbye from me and from that beautiful songbird, whatever that is. Man, I'd love to know what kind of birds these are. If you bird watchers out there, you bird experts, could let me know. That'd be so cool. So beautiful. The sounds are awesome. I've been carving indoors for so many years, and it's funny. It took me all this time to get out here carving outside. I do carve outside occasionally, but not enough. Alright, now there we go. Now we're in a good spot. There's our female eyes, alright? Beautiful. Thanks, guys, for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.